38-0. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. 38-0. The Chicago Bears destroyed the Buffalo Bills 38-0 last night. And after thinking about it, having a few hours to think about it, the new day, one thing is crystal clear to me, among other things. The Heisman Trophy winning Caleb Williams is back. Welcome back to Bears Yard. This your boy Vipe. And we finally got our first look at the Caleb Williams-Ben Johnson pairing in an actual NFL game, albeit the preseason. And before I get into my takeaway from this game, I already know what y'all gonna say, and I already know it. Yes, most of the Bills starters were on the bench, though they were playing the Bills backup and different things like that. I don't care. I'm looking at Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, the operation, the offense, and everything else in between. Number one takeaway from this game was that the first team offense, basically the time that Caleb was out there, and he was out there for 2 series, but the first team offense had 0 pre-snap penalties. Now, you all have heard me talk about pre-snap penalties here on the channel before and how detrimental they can be to an offense's momentum, drive killers in the past. But last night, 0 pre-snap penalty for the first team. Now, I do believe there was a couple later on. I counted 3 between the second team and the third team. But when Caleb Williams was out there with the first team offense, there was 0. And given the fact that he is our starting quarterback, that is what I care about the most. The operation was clean. It was efficient. It was on time. It was surgical. It was beautiful to watch. It was the Chicago Bears finally stepping into the 21st century of modern offensive football, and I loved it. Which brings me to the title of the video. Takeaway number 2. The Heisman Trophy winning Caleb Williams is back. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yes, the Caleb Williams that was surgical back in 2022 as he led USC to, I think, an 11-3 record, and he won the Heisman Trophy in 2022. When he won that Heisman Trophy, he was primarily a pocket passer. He was on time. I know a lot of his credit goes to playing out of structure, but Caleb Williams literally won a Heisman Trophy playing in structure, and that is what we saw last night. I think he threw 10 passes last night. 7 of them were from the pocket. I think he went 6 or 7 in the pocket, something like that. It was amazing. The way that he just did his 2-3 step drops and then got the ball out quick. He was decisive. He didn't waste time. I think his average time to throw last night was 2.6 seconds. I mean, the man had the ball out of his hand before you could pass gas, y'all. It was that quick. You couldn't touch that man last night. It was amazing. So if this is the Caleb Williams that we're going to get this regular season, the NFC North, I'm not even thinking about the NFC North. If we're getting the Heisman Trophy winning Caleb Williams this football season, we are talking about NFC Championship game, Super Bowl bound aspirations, in my opinion. He is that good. That is the generational quarterback that we hyped up last year that could be back this year if he's throwing the ball like that. And speaking of Caleb Williams throwing the ball, that brings me to takeaway number 3. The first team offensive line held up. Now, they were without Joe Thuney last night, so I think it was Braxton Jones starting at left tackle. They put Luke Newman, the 6th-round rookie, in there at left guard. Darwin was the center, who I think right guard was Jonah Jackson. Obviously, Darnell Wright was the right tackle. But the offensive line held up. Again, no pre-snap penalties, so we like that. Braxton Jones, starting left tackle, held up pretty well. He did have 1 rep where he got beat, but it didn't really do any negative damage to the offense and the momentum. So if I remember correctly last night, the broadcast did not mention his name once. And as an offensive lineman, that's all you can hope for, that the broadcast does not mention your name. I mean, they might have mentioned him and talked about him being in the left tackle battle, but as it relates to the actual game itself, I don't think his name was mentioned once. So that means that he was doing his job and he allowed Caleb Williams to go out there and be effective and run the offense. And Caleb Williams in the offense obviously led that first TD drive right out the gate, 97 yards down the field, touchdown drive to Olamide Zaccheaus that put the Bears on the board first, and it was glorious. But the O-line looks solid. And I guess my takeaway 3B is that it does appear that Braxton Jones is going to be the week 1 starting left tackle for this team. He only played 14 snaps last night, which tells me that they're trying to protect him because Theo Benedict, the other left tackle that is in the mix, played 39 snaps last night. So it doesn't seem like they were trying to protect him as much as they were trying to protect Braxton. So I think Braxton's going to be the week 1 left tackle. I explained that in one of my previous videos. It just makes the most sense because he's the most experienced left tackle on the team. And if nobody's taking a job, he's probably going to get it by default. And that's what looks like is happening here with the left tackle situation as it currently stands right now. If you think the Bears are about to dominate this year like I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Bears content from me every Monday through Friday. I live stream on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Central, so make sure you come by and hang out for the live stream. Takeaway number 4, Luther Burden III. What is that thing? What is that quote he said last night? If you give Luther Burden space, he's going to be a problem. And yes, he was going against Buffalo Bill backups last night, but he was part of the Bears too, and he was abusing the Buffalo Bill backups last night, as he should, because Luther Burden is an immensely talented receiver. But not only was his receiving skills and route running on display, his willingness to throw blocks was also on display, because we know how Ben Johnson feels about people or receivers that don't block. No block, no rock. Luther Burden definitely got the memo, because he had 2 blocks last night that led to rushing touchdown for the Chicago Bears. And I think he caught 3 passes as well. So Luther Burden is completely brought into the Ben Johnson philosophy, and his skill and tenacity was out there on display last night for the whole entire nation to see. I'm telling y'all, I know that he's wide receiver 4 behind DJ and Rome and Alameda, but watch out for Luther Burden III this season, because if you sleep on Luther Burden III, he's going to end up in the end zone more than a few times in 2025. Takeaway number 5. Did I mention that the Bears did not allow a single solitary point to the Buffalo Bills last night? That is because the Bears defense is elite. Now, the first team defense was only out there for, I think, 1 series, but I mean, you had them boys eating out there. Andrew Billings got a sack. I think Austin Booker got a sack. The Bears defense was not having any of it. And it's funny, as they were like panning to Ben Johnson on the sidelines later on in the game when they were trying to preserve the shutout, and he just had a look on his face like, if these boys allow Buffalo to score, everybody running lap. You just knew what Ben Johnson was thinking. And Dennis Allen was probably thinking the same thing. If they allow a touchdown, we're going to have problems at Hallis Hall on Monday afternoon. But nope. No points allowed, no touchdowns allowed by Buffalo. The Bears defense is going to be top 10 this year, I feel. Now, unfortunately, we do have injuries stacking up in the secondary. Although Jalen Johnson did show up pregame for a workout, so that's good news. That means that he probably is on track to come back week 1. But unfortunately, I think Terrell Smith suffered a significant injury yesterday. He was fighting with Stevenson and Nashawn Wright to be part of that cornerback depth, but it doesn't look good for him. I mean, even Ben Johnson extended prayers to him. So when the coaches are extending prayers, it's probably not a good look for Terrell Smith. But hopefully he can come back stronger than ever. But it doesn't look too good. But, I mean, they were out there making plays last night. Even Amen Agbamiga out there hit a peanut punch fumble force. I mean, the defense is lit, y'all. They are aggressive. That is probably the best compliment that I can give about our 2025 defense. They are very aggressive and hungry. They are bringing the physicality. They don't want anybody to score on them, and don't even try to throw the ball on them, fam. They ain't having none of it. And just watching them boys go out there and get Buffalo last night was amazing. And again, we know that it was Buffalo backups and different things like that, but the Bears also had a lot of some of their defensive starters on the bench. There was no Grady Jarrett out there. There was no Jalen Johnson, obviously, no Kyler Gordon. So it's not like they were playing the Bears at full strength last night either, but the domination was evident from first quarter to the end of the game. The Bears defense is going to be elite. But how do you feel about the 2025 Chicago Bears after preseason game 2? Do you think this team is going to be a whole lot of problems for the NFL? Do you feel like the old Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winning Caleb Williams is back? Drop a comment, and again, subscribe to the Yard for more things Chicago Bears. And if you want more Bears thoughts and opinions from me, check out that video right there.